Pessoal, então vamos seguir aqui e a gente vai ter uma palestra agora. A gente começou com o Mangini, que é uma prata da casa, Brazuca, de orgulho, e agora a gente vai ter um cara de fora para falar para a gente, do Tumblr, fazendo spoiler aqui em cima de mim. Queria chamar aqui para fazer uma apresentação para a gente, falar um pouco mais sobre o trabalho dele, Chris Miller. Por favor, uma salva de palmas, pessoal. Eu vou falar com ele em inglês, tá? Porque vai ser meio... Minha cabeça vai pifar se eu começar a falar com ele em português, ele responder em inglês e a gente vai se perder. Então, compreendam.
Bom dia.
Oi!
Ei! Ah!
O cara tem umas surpresas aí, esse negócio, esse bom dia. Bom dia.
Bom dia.
So, do you prefer in English?
Definitely.
Okay. Ele me enganou. So, I would like you to tell us a little more about this stuff of being a front-end developer and being a full-stack developer. You know, like people who only does the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript versus the role of thinking about the whole architecture of a system.
Right.
I'd like to know your opinion about that. I'd like you to talk a little bit about.
So in the beginning, I actually began my career as a network engineer. Wasn't really a developer, had an interest in learning how to code, but networking was what I really did. Data centers, switches, routers, things like that. I gradually went into development. I was more of a back-end developer, writing APIs, .NET code, even C#. But I was doing a lot of web work, and I began to move more and more to the front end. That transition from networking to back-end development to now front-end development, it's allowed me to learn the full stack. And it's actually really valuable if you're building a full-stack application. If you're building a web application, any web application is naturally a full-stack application. It's important to know what the server is doing. What's the code doing on the server that's sending data to your application? Even if it's a single-page application, you're probably interacting with some sort of API. If that API starts returning an error, or if it's slow, it's important that you understand sort of what's going on under the hood. So I'm a big believer in full-stack development, understanding everything from the data layer to the middle tier that's actually your API to the actual application that's running in the browser.
Nice. So interesting that even not doing the full stack development, it's good to know the whole spectrum, right?
It's important to know what's actually happening to your application, not just in the browser, but the full spectrum of the app.
And I would like you to share a little bit of your professional background. And there's something interesting because when you say bom dia, and I know you have some past in Brazil. I'd like you to share a little bit of that, and then we're going to your presentation.
Sure. So in 2005, 2004, I started a web hosting company. Like I said, I was doing more networking, so we were focused more on infrastructure and providing that as a service. I was in Chicago, and I met this other guy that had a similar company. We were at a big conference. Who was Brazilian. We became friends. I went to Brazil for the first time in like 2006 or 7, just for vacation. And we realized that the companies that we both had were about the same size, and it made sense for us to merge, so we did. His company was in Brazil. I was running my company out of the U.S. So we started to grow the company more and more in Brazil, and I found myself going back and forth quite a bit. A city called João Pessoa, which is in the north of the country, really beautiful. But I had a chance to experience Brazil as a gringo, and to learn a little bit of the language and to understand your culture is a really amazing thing. And I mean, now my perspective of Brazil is much different than probably most other Americans. But I love it here.
Nice to know. I hope you're enjoying this time in Brazil, as this is not your first time.
Yeah, this is actually my second time in Porto Alegre. The last time I ended up going to Santo Angelo.
Oh,
Barbaridade.
he's a gaúcho. Ok. Bah, trilegal. Que ia fuder, né? Ok, so... Chris Miller, pessoal, salva de palmas para ele.